So the process to get this installed is we need to download the Drupal 8 Alpha 12 tarball, expand it, and then we need to import it into Acquia Dev Desktop. Of course, you can use another platform if you prefer, but Dev Desktop should get you started pretty quick regardless of the operating system that you use. So the first part is getting it downloaded. So I'm here on drupal.org/node/2275543, and you can also do a search for download Drupal 8 Alpha 12. Now this lists all of the changes that have been made since the last version of the alpha, but if we scroll down to the very bottom, we'll see the downloads. So I'll click on the tar.gz file, I'll select a place to save and click save, and I'm going to jump to that location and expand this. If you've been following along, then you've set up all of your examples and your Drupal 8 snapshot in a particular folder. Let's just continue to use that folder. So let's copy this folder and jump to that directory. I have it over here. You see I have the Drupal 8 snapshot, glue, and OOP, which are from the previous videos, and I'll just paste it in. And the next part is to hook this into our AMP stack, which we're going to do through Acquia Dev Desktop. So I already have that open and I'm going to jump to it. Now, in previous videos on Build a Module, the entire site, and also in this series, we've been using Acquia Dev Desktop version 1. However, there is now a Dev Desktop 2, which is being released as a beta, and it includes several improvements that will help streamline the process of setting up sites and managing them. As you can see on the left-hand side, you have a list of the sites that you've imported into Dev Desktop, and you can click on these in order to go to the site, to jump to the code in the Finder, or to manage the database in phpMyAdmin. You can also set the PHP version per site, which is a nice feature. If you've used the first version of Dev Desktop before, then you know that to get to this list of sites is a lot more difficult. So we're switching over now, and I wanted to introduce it to you, just in case you wanted to switch over. You can of course import Drupal 8 Alpha 12 using Dev Desktop 1, just like we did earlier on in this series, no problem. But if you can give Dev Desktop 2 a try, I'd encourage you to. When we want to import a site into Dev Desktop, and by import I don't mean take all of the files and move it somewhere else, but rather hook up the AMP stack, Apache MySQL PHP, to the site regardless of where it is in our file system, we're going to click this plus sign in the lower left-hand corner, and we're going to select Import Local Drupal Site. If we select New Drupal Site, we would have the option to spin up a site based on several different Drupal distributions, and this is also a nice feature of Dev Desktop 2. So I'll import local Drupal site, and let's navigate to the folder that we're going to import from. So again, it's going to be this folder here. So I'll select it and click Open. Now, just in case you want to play with Alpha 12 outside of the context of these videos, let's go ahead and add a suffix to the site name. We'll call it .d8prep, but we'll keep everything else the same. It also has PHP 5.4 selected, which is required for Drupal 8, and we can leave everything else as is. Let's click OK. Now, at least in this version of Dev Desktop 2, it doesn't launch the site immediately. We have to actually go to the site by clicking on this local site link here to pop it up. So I'm going to click on that, which will take us to the installer. We'll click Save and Continue. We'll keep it at the standard installation profile. We'll leave everything here as is. Dev Desktop has already pre-filled our database settings, so we can just click Save and Continue. Installation will take just a minute. All right, now let's fill this out with our information. I'll speed up through this process. Just make sure at this point that you remember your username and password, because it's going to be a challenge to get that later on. I'm going to uncheck the check for updates automatically. Since this is an alpha version of Drupal 8, there's not going to be a supported path to future alphas or betas, so we don't really need to do that check. I'll click Save and Continue, and now we have our site.